As dusk settles over Brookfield, a small town nestled among rolling hills and shaded by rows of towering oak trees, a quiet, almost melancholic stillness fills the air. The setting sun casts a gentle amber glow over the town's winding streets, illuminating the tidy houses and well-kept gardens that line the sidewalks. But within this peaceful scene, there is one lonely figure, moving steadily, almost invisibly, through the fading light. Milo, an elderly golden retriever mix with a face softened by age and a coat tinged with gray, is padding slowly along the familiar streets of Brookfield. His once bright eyes now carry a weighty sadness, a quiet acceptance of a life that no longer feels whole. Once, Milo had a place to call home, a family who adored him, and a gentle hand that scratched behind his ears every morning. But those days have passed. Since the death of his beloved owner, Milo has become a wanderer, a silent traveler in a world that feels strangely unfamiliar without his human by his side. To the residents of Brookfield, Milo is a well-known, if sorrowful, presence. People often spot him trotting along the sidewalks or lying in the cool grass beneath the large oak trees, his gaze far off, as if lost in memories. Some of the townsfolk have tried to take him to the local shelter, hoping he might find a new home there. But Milo always manages to slip away, as if drawn to the freedom of the open streets, to the bittersweet memories that linger in every corner of this town he's always known. Milo's life is quiet now, a gentle rhythm of roaming and resting. He spends his days meandering through the places he once visited with his owner. The small park with the iron benches, the winding path near the creek, the old stone bridge that arches gracefully over the water. Each spot holds a fragment of a memory, a trace of a happier time. In the park, he remembers running with a ball in his mouth, his owner's laughter ringing through the air. By the creek, he recalls warm summer afternoons, splashing in the shallow water, feeling the cool mud under his paws. As he walks, Milo is greeted by sympathetic smiles and gentle waves from people who have come to know him. Sometimes, a kind passerby will pause to offer him a treat or a few kind words. But Milo accepts these gestures with quiet dignity, always moving on, always searching. Though he seems content in his solitude, there is a flicker of longing in his eyes, a hint of the life he once knew and a home that no longer exists. The day fades into twilight, and Milo pauses beneath an old oak tree, his gaze lifting to the first stars beginning to prick the darkening sky. Around him, the town's lights begin to flicker on, casting a soft, golden glow over the empty streets. To anyone else, it's just another peaceful evening in Brookfield. But to Milo, this night feels different, as if the air itself holds a quiet promise. Little does Milo know that his journey is about to take a turn he could never anticipate, one that will lead him to a moment of purpose he had thought was lost forever. Soon, the lonely streets he roams will hold a new chapter for him, a chapter that will forever change his quiet, wandering life. As the evening settles into night, Milo's journey brings him to a familiar place, a small, weathered porch belonging to Mrs. Green, one of Brookfield's longtime residents. Mrs. Green, a widow with a kind heart and watchful eyes, has made it her quiet mission to look out for the town's stray animals. Each night, she places a small bowl of kibble and a dish of fresh water on her porch, hoping it will reach those who have no one else to care for them. For Milo, this stop has become a nightly ritual, a moment of warmth and familiarity in an otherwise lonesome world. He trots up to the porch, his weary frame silhouetted in the glow of the porch light. The scent of food reaches him, comforting and inviting. Milo eats slowly, savoring each bite as if it were more than just a meal, as if it's the kindness itself that nourishes him, reminding him that, despite his loneliness, he is not forgotten. After drinking from the water dish, he sits on the porch for a few moments, gazing out into the night. The town is quiet, save for the soft rustling of leaves and the distant hum of crickets. Just as he's about to continue his walk, Milo's ears perk up. Faint but unmistakable, he hears an unusual sound, something that doesn't belong in the soft symphony of the night. It's a small, fragile cry, barely audible, like the whisper of a breeze through the trees. Milo's instincts sharpen. The sound is both strange and haunting, tugging at something deep within him. He stands up, tilting his head as he listens, his body tense with curiosity and concern. Drawn by the cry, Milo begins to follow the sound, his paws carrying him away from Mrs. Green's porch and toward the edge of Brookfield Park. The park, usually empty at this hour, is cloaked in shadows, the street lamps casting long, eerie beams across the paths. Milo moves carefully, his old frame navigating the familiar terrain with purpose. The cry grows clearer as he approaches a row of trees near the park's entrance, leading him to a spot he'd never thought to visit on his usual rounds. There, beside a metal trash can hidden under the shadow of a thick oak, Milo finds the source of the sound. He stops, his heart pounding as he peers down into the shadows. Inside the trash can, wrapped in a thin blanket, lies an abandoned newborn baby. Her tiny face scrunched in discomfort, her weak cries drifting into the still night. The sight is bewildering, yet Milo doesn't hesitate. In this moment, his instincts are stronger than ever, guiding him with an unshakable clarity. Carefully, with a tenderness that belies his age, Milo nudges the bundle with his nose. The baby's cries soften, and her tiny hand reaches out, brushing against his fur. In that touch, there's a quiet connection, a silent understanding between two souls lost in their own ways. Gently, Milo grasps the edge of the blanket in his mouth, lifting the infant with extraordinary care. With every step, he cradles her close, as if aware of the precious cargo he carries, his heart beating with a sense of purpose he hasn't felt in a long time. Milo turns back toward the town, his paws moving swiftly but gently along the empty streets. He knows exactly where he needs to go, to a house on the other side of Brookfield, where warmth, safety, and a kind heart await. His journey has taken on new meaning. He is no longer just a lonely wanderer. Tonight, he is a guardian, a hero on a mission, and Brookfield itself seems to hold its breath as he moves through the quiet night, carrying the fragile life he's found toward a new beginning. Milo moves carefully, his steps steady and deliberate as he carries the baby through the darkened streets of Brookfield. Each step is taken with gentle precision, his old paws avoiding even the smallest stones and bumps in the road. The blanket-wrapped infant rests securely in his mouth, and though she lets out a faint whimper now and then, Milo's presence seems to calm her, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat a quiet comfort in the chill of the night. His destination is clear in his mind, the home of Anna Sullivan, a retired nurse known in the community for her compassion and gentle spirit. Anna has lived alone since her husband passed away, finding solace in tending to her garden, helping neighbors, and more recently, leaving food out for the town's stray animals. Milo has felt the warmth of her kindness before. On chilly mornings, she would often leave her door ajar, calling him softly and offering a treat or two. To him, Anna's house is a place of safety, and tonight, it's the only place he can trust with the life cradled in his mouth. As he rounds the final corner, Milo sees the familiar glow of Anna's porch light, casting a warm pool of light on the pathway leading up to her small, cozy home. His heart pounds with a strange mix of urgency and hope. With a renewed sense of purpose, he quickens his pace, careful not to jostle the precious bundle he carries. Reaching the steps, Milo sets the baby down gently on the porch, nudging her with his nose to make sure she's still breathing. The infant stirs, letting out a small cry that pierces the quiet night. Milo lifts his head and begins to bark. Sharp, insistent barks that cut through the stillness, his voice carrying the weight of his urgency. Inside, Anna stirs awake, her brow furrowing as she hears the commotion outside her door. She rises from her armchair, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders as she moves toward the sound. Opening the door, Anna's eyes widen in shock. She blinks, trying to make sense of the scene before her, a frail, elderly dog standing over a small, crying bundle. At first, she assumes it's another stray animal, perhaps injured and needing help. But as she steps closer, the truth becomes clear. The bundle is a baby, an abandoned newborn wrapped in a thin, makeshift blanket. Her hand flies to her mouth, a gasp escaping her lips as she kneels down to inspect the tiny infant. "Oh my God," she whispers, her heart racing as she takes in the baby's pale face, the small, tightly clenched fists. She glances at Milo, who gazes back at her with unwavering eyes, as if he knows exactly what he's done, and exactly what needs to happen next. Anna's years of nursing experience kick in instantly. She scoops the baby up, cradling her gently against her chest, and rushes inside, her movements filled with a mixture of shock, urgency, and maternal instinct. Milo follows her, his paws clicking softly on the hardwood floor as he enters the warm, safe space of her home. Once inside, Anna wastes no time. She wraps the baby in a soft, warm blanket, holding her close to her chest, and begins gently rubbing her tiny arms and legs to stimulate blood flow and warm her up. The baby's cries grow softer, her small body responding to the warmth and care. Anna's hands tremble slightly as she fumbles for her phone, dialing emergency services with one hand while still holding the baby close. As she speaks with the dispatcher, Anna casts a glance at Milo, who is sitting calmly by her side, his eyes never leaving the baby. There's an unspoken bond in that moment, a deep, silent gratitude. Anna understands that without Milo, this baby might never have been found. And the reality of that thought fills her with a profound sense of awe. Yes, please come quickly. It's an infant. Yes, abandoned, Anna says into the phone, her voice wavering with emotion. She's stable for now, but she'll need immediate care. The dispatcher assures her that paramedics are on their way, and Anna nods, whispering gentle reassurances to the baby as she waits. Milo settles down beside her, resting his head on his paws, a silent guardian keeping watch. In the minutes that follow, Anna realizes the miracle of what has unfolded tonight. A miracle brought about by the instincts and loyalty of a dog who, despite his own losses and loneliness, chose to save a life. To Anna, Milo is more than a stray now. He is a hero, a protector, and in his own quiet way, a bridge connecting lives that might have never met. Together, they wait, the baby nestled safely in Anna's arms, Milo lying protectively at her feet, as the distant sound of sirens grows louder, carrying with it the promise of safety, warmth, and a future that, because of Milo, has been granted a second chance. The wail of sirens grows louder as Anna cradles the tiny infant against her chest, whispering soothing words as her fingers gently trace circles over the baby's back. Though her heart is pounding, her movements are calm and deliberate, each action guided by her years of experience as a nurse. Her mind races with questions. Who could abandon such a fragile life? How long had the baby been alone? But she pushes these thoughts aside, focusing instead on keeping the baby warm and comforted. The faint glow of the ambulance lights begins to flicker through her living room window, casting red and blue hues across the walls, filling her with a sense of both urgency and relief. Beside her, Milo remains watchful, his gaze never leaving the infant. His eyes, though soft, hold a quiet intensity, as if he understands the importance of the moment. He lies close to Anna, his body relaxed yet vigilant, his presence lending her strength. It's as though he's telling her, in his own way, "We've come this far together. I'm here with you." A few moments later, there's a firm knock at the door, followed by a muffled call of paramedics. Anna moves quickly, opening the door to reveal two paramedics, a tall, muscular man with a reassuring smile and a woman with a calm, focused expression. Their uniforms are neat, their movements practiced and swift, but as they see Anna holding the baby and notice Milo at her feet, their faces reflect a brief flicker of surprise. "This is the baby," Anna says softly, shifting her hold to reveal the infant's tiny face. "I found her abandoned, or rather, he found her." She nods toward Milo, who remains at her side, watching the paramedics with a protective gaze. The female paramedic, Aisha, steps forward, gently placing a gloved hand on the baby's forehead and checking her breathing. Her partner, Frank, kneels beside them, his eyes softening as he looks at the child, wrapped snugly in Anna's blanket. The sight of the dog lying calmly beside them seems to tug at something within both of them. "Ma'am," Aisha says, looking up at Anna with a mixture of astonishment and gratitude, "did you say this dog found her?" Anna nods, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes, Milo brought her to me. I heard him barking, went outside, and there he was, standing over her on my porch." The paramedics exchange a glance, visibly moved by the dog's bravery. "Well, Milo," Frank says softly, reaching down to give the old dog a gentle pat on the head, "you're quite the hero, aren't you?" Milo's tail gives a slight wag, a quiet acknowledgement, though his focus never leaves the baby. Anna watches as Aisha skillfully checks the baby's vital signs, listening to her heartbeat and gently examining her tiny fingers and toes. She seems stable, Aisha says with a sigh of relief. "Cold, but stable. We'll need to get her to the hospital for a thorough checkup, but thanks to you and Milo, she's alive and safe." Frank stands, gesturing toward the waiting ambulance. "Anna, would you like to come with us? We could use someone with your experience until we reach the hospital." Anna hesitates only for a moment, glancing down at Milo. "If Milo can come along too, I'll come," she says firmly, unwilling to leave behind the loyal companion who made this rescue possible. The paramedics exchange a brief look, and Frank nods with a smile. I think we can make an exception tonight. He gestures for Milo to follow, and the old dog, understanding his role isn't yet over, rises to his feet, trotting obediently after them. The four of them make their way to the ambulance, Anna holding the baby close, and Milo walking carefully at her side. The paramedics help Anna and Milo into the back, securing them carefully before shutting the doors. The ambulance roars to life, and within moments, they're moving through the quiet streets of Brookfield, racing toward the hospital under the flashing lights. Inside the ambulance, Anna keeps her focus on the baby, watching her delicate breathing, feeling each faint rise and fall of her tiny chest. She marvels at the smallness of this child's fingers, the softness of her skin, and a wave of fierce protectiveness rises within her. Despite the unusual circumstances, she feels a strong sense of purpose, a certainty that finding this child, or rather, that Milo finding her, was no accident. Isha sits beside her, monitoring the baby's vitals while giving Anna an encouraging nod. Across from them, Milo lies quietly, his eyes fixed on the baby as if watching over her still. In the dim glow of the ambulance lights, Anna catches a glimpse of his graying muzzle and gentle eyes, a spark of loyalty and courage shining through his calm demeanor. She reaches down, resting a hand on his head, her touch filled with silent gratitude. As they near the hospital, Aisha gives Anna a reassuring smile. The doctors will take it from here, but I'm sure they'll let you stay with her a while. Considering everything. Anna nods, a hint of relief softening her tense expression. She looks down at Milo, who gazes back at her with that same unwavering loyalty, as if to say, we've done this together. In her heart, she knows that no matter what happens next, Milo has forever changed this child's life, and perhaps, unknowingly, her own as well. The ambulance pulls into the brightly lit emergency bay of Brookfield General Hospital, and as the doors open, Anna prepares herself for the next steps. With Milo at her side, she steps out, feeling the weight of the night's events settle upon her, yet with a glimmer of hope in her heart. As the ambulance pulls into the emergency bay, the cool hospital lights flood the scene, casting a surreal glow over the figures inside. Anna steps out carefully, cradling the baby while Milo follows close behind, his weary frame shadowing her every step. They're met by a team of doctors and nurses who, for a brief moment, seem frozen, captivated by the sight of an elderly dog standing protectively beside a newborn, a silent guardian to this fragile life. A doctor steps forward, Dr. Rachel Carter, a pediatrician known for her warmth and expertise. She gently takes the baby from Anna's arms, her experienced hands moving swiftly as she assesses the child's condition, her expression shifting between focus and relief. The baby's vitals are stable, she says aloud to the surrounding nurses. We need to get her warmed up, monitored, and run a full set of tests to make sure she's okay. Anna watches as the staff gently places the baby on a small rolling bed, wrapping her in warm blankets and attaching monitors to track her heartbeat and temperature. In that moment, her heart aches with a fierce protectiveness, as if this child were her own flesh and blood. Her hands linger in the air, unwilling to let go, but she knows the doctors need space to work. Beside her, Milo stands quietly, observing the scene with a sense of calm vigilance. One of the nurses kneels down to pet him, a soft smile crossing her face. "So you're the hero we've been hearing about," she murmurs, rubbing his ears. Milo looks up at her, his tail giving a slow, gentle wag as if to acknowledge her praise, but his gaze quickly returns to the baby, keeping his silent vigil. Dr. Carter turns to Anna, her expression both compassionate and curious. "The paramedics mentioned that this dog brought the baby to you?" Anna nods, her voice soft with emotion. "Yes, Milo found her. He brought her to my porch in the middle of the night. I don't know how, but he seemed to understand that she needed help, more than any of us could have known." The doctor's eyes soften as she looks at Milo. "It's amazing. Animals seem to have a sense for these things. I don't know if the baby would have survived if he hadn't found her." One of the nurses approaches Dr. Carter, handing her a chart with test results. Dr. Carter scans the information, her brow furrowing slightly. "It seems the baby is in fairly good health, considering the circumstances. She's underweight, and she has some signs of hypothermia, but nothing we can't manage. With care, she should be fine. A collective sigh of relief ripples through the group, and Anna feels a weight lift from her chest. She glances down at Milo, who looks up at her with calm, knowing eyes, and she can't help but smile. In her heart, she feels an overwhelming gratitude for this dog, who had no family of his own, but somehow found a family to protect. The doctor pauses, looking thoughtfully at Anna and Milo. "You know," she says slowly, "I think we should get this guy registered as a therapy dog. He's obviously more than just a stray, and I think having him around would be a gift for anyone he encounters." The suggestion brings a warmth to Anna's heart. "Yes, I think he'd be wonderful at that. He has a special presence. He brought that baby here for a reason. He was meant to be with her." Dr. Carter nods, her expression kind. "Well, let's make it official. I'll speak with the hospital administrator about getting Milo registered. It's the least we can do for such a brave soul." The group disperses as the baby is taken to a nearby room for further monitoring. Anna, feeling an unexpected sense of duty, follows close behind, with Milo trotting beside her. He's no longer the aimless stray wandering Brookfield's streets. Tonight, he has a purpose, a mission that has brought him into the heart of this hospital, into the lives of people who will never forget him. As they reach the baby's room, Anna leans down, stroking Milo's soft fur. "You did something truly incredible, Milo," she whispers, her voice choked with gratitude. "You saved her life. You gave her a chance." Milo's eyes meet hers, a calm and steady gaze that seems to carry a world of understanding. For the first time in years, Anna feels a profound sense of belonging, a realization that she too has a place in this child's story. And as they stand together, watching over the tiny infant resting in her hospital bed, there's a feeling of hope, a sense of new beginnings, for the baby, for Milo, and for Anna herself. As dawn breaks, the pale light of morning seeps through the hospital room, casting a gentle glow over the infant's sleeping face. Anna sits nearby, a quiet smile tugging at the corners of her mouth as she watches the baby's tiny chest rise and fall with each peaceful breath. Beside her, Milo rests with his head on his paws, eyes half closed, yet still alert, as if standing guard over the fragile life he had rescued. Hours pass in a soothing stillness. Nurses occasionally check on the baby, nodding to Anna with reassuring smiles as they monitor her vitals. The baby is responding well to treatment, and her color has begun to return, a soft warmth blooming in her cheeks. The nurses and doctors have come to call her Baby Hope, a fitting name for the tiny miracle who had been given a second chance, thanks to Milo's instincts and Anna's compassion. In a quiet moment, Dr. Carter approaches, carrying a file in one hand and a gentle, understanding smile. "Anna, I have a small favor to ask," she begins, her tone thoughtful. "The hospital is short-staffed today, and, well, I know it's been a while, but with your nursing background, would you mind helping us out here in the ER?" For a moment, Anna is taken aback. It's been years since she's worked as a nurse, having retired to live a quieter life, finding purpose in tending her garden and volunteering around Brookfield. But something about this request stirs an old, familiar feeling in her, a calling she hadn't realized she'd missed so deeply. She glances at Baby Hope, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and connection. The little girl, barely days old, has unwittingly rekindled Anna's spirit. "Yes," she says with a nod, a spark lighting her eyes. "I'd be honored to help." Anna quickly finds herself immersed in the rhythm of the ER, assisting doctors and nurses, checking patients' vitals, and comforting those in distress. The old habits come back to her naturally, and as the hours slip by, she feels as if she's shedding the years that had separated her from this work she once loved. The fatigue she'd felt after a long night melts away, replaced by a quiet strength she didn't know she still had. Throughout the morning, Milo stays close by, quietly observing her as she moves about the ward. His presence has become a calming influence, not just for Anna, but for the entire hospital staff. Patients who notice him in the hallway reach out with tentative hands, and Milo obligingly nudges their fingers with his nose or rests his head in their laps, as if he knows exactly what they need. His gentle soul touches everyone he meets, and more than once, a nurse or patient whispers, "Is that the dog who saved the baby?" In between tasks, Anna checks in on Baby Hope, who rests peacefully under the watchful eyes of the medical team. Dr. Carter approaches her, a serious look on her face as she hands Anna an update on the baby's condition. Anna, we've run some tests, and it seems baby Hope has a rare heart condition. It's not life-threatening right now, but she'll need specialized surgery to ensure her heart functions normally as she grows. It's complex, but it's manageable with the right care, Dr. Carter explains gently. The news settles heavily in Anna's heart. She looks over at baby Hope, who lies there, unaware of the journey ahead. Despite the challenges, Anna feels a surge of determination. This baby, who had been abandoned, had found her way into Anna's life, stirring something deep within her that felt like fate. The thought of baby Hope facing such a struggle fills her with a fierce resolve. As Anna takes a moment to process the news, Dr. Carter continues, her voice soft with understanding. It won't be easy, but with the support of people who care about her, baby Hope will get through this. And I believe she already has her first two protectors, she adds, smiling at Anna and Milo. Anna smiles back, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and determination. In her mind, a decision is already forming. She can't imagine leaving baby Hope to face this alone, not when fate had brought them together so unexpectedly, not when she felt so certain that Milo had led her to this very moment. As the hours pass, Anna continues her work in the ER, her thoughts repeatedly drifting to baby Hope. The sense of purpose she had once felt as a nurse has returned, but now it's tinged with something more, an instinct to protect, to nurture, to ensure this child has a future filled with love and security. She's no longer merely a nurse helping out. She's a guardian, someone who's been given a second chance herself, a reason to step forward and re-enter the world with purpose. When her shift finally ends, Anna returns to baby Hope's side, with Milo padding quietly behind her. She gently strokes the baby's soft hair, her heart swelling with a newfound love and sense of responsibility. You don't have to face this alone, little one, she whispers, her voice filled with both tenderness and determination. You're safe now. We'll face this together, all three of us. In that moment, as Milo sits beside her, his eyes filled with the quiet wisdom of a true companion, Anna realizes that she's been given a gift. Baby Hope has offered her a purpose she hadn't known she'd been searching for. And Milo, with his brave heart and gentle soul, has shown her the way. In her heart, she knows this is the beginning of a journey she is meant to walk, a journey of healing, of love, and of new beginnings for them all. The day after baby Hope's rescue, word of the miraculous discovery spreads quickly through Brookfield. People in the hospital and beyond begin to speak of the hero dog and the abandoned child he saved. News outlets pick up the story, and soon it reaches Detective Mei Chen, a determined and respected investigator known for her meticulous approach and unwavering dedication to her work. Detective Chen is immediately assigned to the case, her heart drawn to the plight of baby Hope and her unusual furry savior. Detective Chen arrives at the hospital with a quiet yet purposeful stride, her notepad and pen ready. She's greeted by Dr. Carter, who fills her in on the details while leading her toward Anna and Milo. The detective listens intently, nodding thoughtfully as Dr. Carter explains how Milo had brought the baby to Anna's porch and how Anna had cared for her through the night. As they approach the waiting room where Anna sits with Milo lying protectively by her feet, Detective Chen takes a moment to observe the pair. Milo raises his head, his watchful gaze meeting hers, and Detective Chen feels a pang of admiration for the dog's bravery. She bends down to meet his eyes, offering a small, respectful smile before standing to greet Anna. Miss Harrison, she begins, her voice calm and kind. I'm Detective Mei Chen. Thank you for taking such wonderful care of this little girl. She gestures toward the baby, who is now resting peacefully in the pediatric ward. I understand Milo here was the one who found her? Anna nods, her hand instinctively reaching down to stroke Milo's head. Yes. I don't know how he knew, but he just sensed something was wrong. He brought her to me, and I don't think she would have made it without him. Detective Chen makes a quick note, her eyes thoughtful. He must be an extraordinary dog, she says, smiling. And you must be an extraordinary person to have stepped in and cared for her the way you did. Anna blushes slightly, shaking her head. I just did what I had to do. I couldn't turn away from her, not when she needed someone. Detective Chen takes a seat across from Anna, pulling out her notebook. I'm going to do everything I can to find out who left baby Hope in that terrible condition. We're already reviewing surveillance footage from around the park where Milo found her, and I'll be questioning anyone who might have seen something unusual." As she continues to take notes, Gerald Hawkins, the head of Brookfield's animal control, enters the room with a stern look on his face. He clears his throat and glances at Milo, his gaze skeptical and unkind. "I'm sorry to interrupt, Detective," he says brusquely, "but I've been getting calls from people concerned about a stray dog wandering the hospital. We need to remove him and ensure he's taken to a shelter." Anna's expression hardens, and she instinctively places a protective hand on Milo's collar. "Milo isn't just a stray. He's the reason that baby is alive right now," she says firmly. "Without him, she wouldn't be here." Detective Chen raises a hand to calm both sides, her gaze steady as she addresses Hawkins. "Mr. Hawkins, Milo may be a stray, but he's also a hero. And from what I understand, Dr. Carter is considering registering him as a therapy dog, which would allow him to remain here." Hawkins hesitates, clearly dissatisfied, but unable to argue with the growing admiration for Milo. "Fine," he mutters, "but if he causes any trouble—" "He won't," Anna interrupts, her voice unwavering. "He's been nothing but gentle and calm." Detective Chen watches this exchange, her respect for Anna growing. She turns back to her and says, "If Milo can officially become a therapy dog, I believe that will allow him to stay where he's clearly needed. In the meantime, I'd like to speak with you further, Miss Harrison, about any details you might recall about that night." They move to a quieter corner of the room, where Anna recounts the night in vivid detail, recalling every sound, every instinct that had driven her to open the door, and Milo's urgency in guiding her to the child. Detective Chen listens with an empathetic ear, nodding as she takes notes, and she's struck by the sense of fate binding these lives together. After the interview, Detective Chen heads back to her office, reviewing the footage from the surveillance cameras around the park. Hours pass as she studies each angle, scrutinizing every face, every figure that crosses through the scene. Then, finally, her eye catches something: a shadowy figure hurrying down the path toward the park, glancing nervously over their shoulder as they carry a bundle that could only be the baby. She zooms in, but the figure's face is obscured by a hood, their steps hurried and anxious. Detective Chen's heart sinks as she realizes it may be difficult to identify them from this footage alone. But it's a start. Determined, she sends a request for additional camera angles and considers contacting nearby residents for witness statements. As Detective Chen prepares her next steps, she feels a surge of resolve. Baby Hope deserves answers, and she's committed to finding them. And as she glances at the small photo she's kept from the hospital, a candid shot of Milo watching over baby Hope, she's reminded of the courage and kindness it took to bring the child to safety. The investigation will be tough, but with Anna and Milo on her side, Detective Chen feels a renewed determination. She's not alone in seeking justice for baby Hope. As she files away the evidence, she knows that everyone involved, especially Milo, the hero with a gentle heart, has a role to play in the unfolding story of this child's life. The morning sun shines through the blinds of the pediatric ward, casting soft rays across baby Hope's crib. Her tiny face is peaceful now, free from the immediate danger that had threatened her life just a day ago. The heart monitor beside her softly beeps, a rhythmic reminder of the fragile, miraculous life she clings to. Anna watches over her, sitting in a chair next to the crib, Milo lying at her feet, his head resting on his paws. His presence continues to be a comfort to them both, constant and unwavering. Dr. Carter enters the room, a concerned look on her face as she approaches Anna, who stands up to greet her. "Miss Harrison, we have the results from the tests we ran on baby Hope last night," she begins, her tone gentle but serious. "I need to talk to you about what we found." Anna's heart skips a beat, her instincts telling her that the news isn't easy. She nods and listens closely as Dr. Carter continues, the weight of her words sinking in slowly. "It turns out baby Hope has a rare and complex heart condition," Dr. Carter explains. "It's something we call hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which means the left side of her heart is severely underdeveloped. Without immediate surgery, she won't survive past infancy." Anna feels a tightness in her chest, a wave of fear sweeping over her. What does that mean for her future? she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Can she be saved? Dr. Carter meets her eyes, her expression soft but determined. Yes, there is a chance. The surgery is extremely delicate, and we'll need to work with a pediatric cardiologist who specializes in this kind of procedure. But it can be done. It's a long road ahead, but Baby Hope has a fighting chance. And the fact that she's made it this far, that she's still with us, gives us hope. Anna looks down at Baby Hope, her tiny hands curled into fists around the soft hospital blanket. There's a resolve in Anna's heart now, as if this fragile little life has tethered her to something greater than herself. Despite the odds, despite the fear of the unknown, she knows she cannot let this child go. She has already come so far, fought so hard, and Anna will be right there with her, every step of the way. Later that afternoon, Dr. Carter walks Anna and Milo to the hospital's pediatric cardiology wing. Anna's heart is heavy with the knowledge of what lies ahead, but there's a sense of purpose in her step as she follows the doctor into the bustling, sterile hallway. Milo remains close by, the comfort of his steady presence helping to ground Anna as they approach the cardiologist's office. Dr. Reeves, a skilled pediatric cardiologist with a reputation for performing life-saving surgeries, stands to greet them as they enter his office. His calm demeanor reassures Anna as they exchange introductions, and soon he is reviewing Baby Hope's medical files with the team. We've seen cases like this before, Dr. Reeves says, as he carefully studies the scans. Hypoplastic left heart syndrome is one of the most challenging congenital heart defects, but we have the ability to correct it with surgery. The procedure is complex, and it requires careful planning. We'll need to do the surgery in stages, one to stabilize her, another to reconstruct the left side of her heart, and then a final one to ensure her heart functions properly long term. We've had success with these procedures before, but I won't lie, it's high risk. We'll be monitoring her closely every step of the way. Anna swallows hard, trying to process the magnitude of what Dr. Reeves is saying. The weight of the situation presses down on her chest, but she also feels a surge of hope, knowing that this child, this precious soul who had been abandoned and alone, is now under the care of such capable hands. She has come this far. There is no turning back now. I know it's a lot to take in, Dr. Reeves adds, looking over at Anna with empathy. But I want you to understand, we're not giving up on her. We have a plan, and we're going to give her the best chance we can. Anna looks at Milo, who is quietly sitting by her side, and she feels a swell of gratitude. This dog, who had led her to Baby Hope, had somehow guided them both to this moment, this decision to fight for the child's life. The journey ahead will be long and uncertain, but it is a journey that they will face together. Anna is resolute now. She will be with Baby Hope every step of the way, just as Milo has been. We're in this together, Anna says quietly, her voice filled with determination. Do what you have to do. We're ready. As Dr. Reeves discusses the logistics of the surgery with his team, Anna sits back, absorbing every word, knowing that the road ahead will be difficult, but not impossible. The doctors and nurses are prepared to fight for Baby Hope, just as Anna is. That evening, as the hospital prepares for the surgery, Anna stands by Baby Hope's side one last time before the procedure. Milo stands beside her, his watchful eyes never leaving the child. In this quiet moment, Anna promises the baby that she will always be there, that she will never let her face the world alone again. And as the hospital staff prepares for the surgery, Anna feels a strange peace settle over her. This baby, this precious girl, has become her family. And together, they will fight for hope, for life, and for a future that is brighter than they ever thought possible. The surgery will begin soon. But for now, Anna holds Baby Hope close, whispering a soft promise into her ear. We're going to make it through this, together. The morning after Baby Hope's surgery, the hospital is bustling with activity. The halls are filled with the steady hum of nurses and doctors moving from room to room, but in the pediatric ward, a quiet tension lingers. Anna is sitting by Baby Hope's side, Milo lying protectively at her feet, his gaze never straying far from the crib. Baby Hope's surgery has gone well, but she remains under close observation. Her small, fragile body still carries the weight of her condition, and Anna is determined to be there when she wakes up. That's when the hospital's security team receives an unexpected visitor. A man and a woman, both in their mid-30s, walk into the lobby, exuding an air of urgency and concern. They ask for information about the newborn, claiming to be the biological parents of baby Hope. Their story is rehearsed and perfectly timed, but there's something in their eyes, something that doesn't sit right with the receptionist, who has been informed of the situation and knows that baby Hope has no known family. The receptionist, suspicious of the couple's vague answers, calls hospital security to investigate. Within minutes, Detective Mei Chen is on the scene, already familiar with the case and deeply protective of baby Hope's well-being. As the couple waits in the sterile lobby, a sense of unease hangs over them. Detective Chen approaches them, her demeanor calm but firm. "I'm Detective Mei Chen." She introduces herself, flashing her badge. "I understand you're claiming to be the parents of baby Hope?" The man and woman exchange uneasy glances before the woman speaks up, her voice quivering with a mix of feigned distress and feigned confidence. "Yes, we're her parents. We didn't know where she was, but we've been looking everywhere. We just want to take our baby home. She belongs with us." She places a hand over her heart, attempting to appear sincere, but the words don't feel genuine. Detective Chen looks closely at both of them. There's something off about their story, something that feels rehearsed, like a script they've memorized. She notices the tension in their posture, the way their eyes flicker with anxiety when they speak, and the lack of real emotion behind their words. It's almost as if they're trying too hard to sell the story, trying too hard to convince everyone that they're the rightful parents. "I understand your concern," Detective Chen says, her voice steady. "But there are some protocols we need to follow. You'll need to prove your identity and establish legal guardianship if you're claiming to be her parents." The man steps forward, trying to assert himself. "We don't have time for that," he insists, his voice rising. "We've been searching for her for days. This is our daughter, and you can't keep her from us. We demand to take her now." Anna, who has been standing nearby with Milo, hears the commotion and steps forward. Her protective instincts kick in immediately. "Excuse me," she says, her voice strong, "but who exactly are you two? Because I've been here from the moment she arrived. I've cared for her, and I've been with her every step of the way. I'm the one who saved her. Who are you, really?" The man and woman freeze, clearly caught off guard by Anna's boldness. They exchange another quick glance, their earlier confidence faltering for a moment. Detective Chen observes them carefully, her suspicion growing. It's obvious that their story is unraveling. They can't even explain how they knew about baby Hope's whereabouts or why they had waited until now to appear. The lack of genuine concern in their eyes, the absence of any real details, makes their claim even more suspicious. "I've seen this before," Detective Chen murmurs under her breath. "People who try to take advantage of a vulnerable situation." She turns to the couple, her expression sharp. "You'll need to come with me. We'll be verifying your identity and checking the facts before any decision is made." The woman's face turns pale as she suddenly realizes she's been caught. She opens her mouth to speak, but her words falter. The man, now visibly flustered, attempts to argue further, but Detective Chen remains firm. "You're free to explain yourselves, but until you can provide documentation proving you are baby Hope's legal parents, you're not taking her anywhere." The couple's facade crumbles as security steps in to escort them from the premises, their plan exposed. Detective Chen breathes a sigh of relief, but her work is far from over. As they leave, she turns back to Anna, offering a reassuring smile. "They were never her parents," Detective Chen says, her voice low. "Just a couple of opportunists hoping to get their hands on the child. I'll be filing a report, and we'll be getting in touch with social services to make sure baby Hope's future is secure." Anna's relief is palpable, but the weight of the situation still hangs over her. Milo stands at her side, his gaze unwavering, as if he, too, understands the importance of what has just transpired. Anna crouches down to stroke his fur, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the dog who had brought baby Hope to her doorstep in the first place. "It's over," Anna says quietly, more to herself than anyone else. "She's safe, and she's going to be okay." But as she says the words, a new thought enters her mind. Baby Hope's journey is far from over, and Anna knows that, in some ways, it's only just begun. The false parents are out of the picture, but there's still much to be done. Papers to file, guardianship to secure, and a future to plan. The road ahead may not be easy, but Anna is ready to face it, knowing that baby Hope is finally on the path to the family she deserves. And Milo will be there by her side every step of the way. The days following the failed attempt by the false parents to claim baby Hope were filled with anticipation, but also relief. Anna stayed at the hospital, never leaving baby Hope's side. Milo, ever loyal, remained close to both of them, his calm presence providing a constant source of comfort in the midst of the uncertainty. The little girl, though fragile, had shown remarkable strength, and with each passing day, Anna's hope grew that she would indeed make it through this fight for her life. And then, the day came. Dr. Reeves stood outside the operating room, flanked by his surgical team, all preparing for the final stage of the surgery. The team had worked tirelessly on baby Hope's condition, carefully planning every step of the procedure to reconstruct the left side of her heart. It was a delicate, high-risk surgery, one that would take hours to complete, but the team was confident. With the latest advancements in pediatric cardiology and the determination of everyone involved, baby Hope had a fighting chance. Anna and Milo were waiting in the hospital waiting room, their quiet vigil continuing as they clung to the thin thread of hope that had kept them going. Anna's mind raced as she thought of the journey that had brought them to this point. The dark, lonely streets where Milo had found baby Hope, the shock of the baby's condition, the tests, the surgeries, the false parents who had come so close to taking her away. And through it all, she had remained steadfast. Baby Hope had become a part of her heart, and Anna was not about to let go. Milo lay at Anna's feet, his head resting on her lap as she absent-mindedly stroked his fur, her thoughts lost in the moment. Every now and then, she would glance up at the clock, counting the minutes until she could hear the news. Then, the door to the waiting area opened, and Dr. Reeves stepped through, his face breaking into a smile. It wasn't a grin of victory. No, it was the calm smile of a man who had just seen the incredible power of medicine and human determination in action. "Miss Harrison, I'm happy to report that baby Hope's surgery was a success," Dr. Reeves said, his voice filled with relief. "Her heart is stable, and we've been able to reconstruct the left side. She'll need to remain under observation for the next 24 to 48 hours, but I'm optimistic. She's a fighter." Tears welled up in Anna's eyes as the weight of the news settled in. She stood up, her legs shaky, but a deep sense of gratitude filling her chest. "You did it. You really did it," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Thank you." Dr. Reeves nodded, a warm smile crossing his face. "We all did it. It's going to take time, but baby Hope has a new chance at life." Anna took a deep breath, her heart swelling with relief. She looked down at Milo, who stood up and wagged his tail as though sensing the victory. She could almost hear his silent thoughts. "We've made it. She's going to be okay." The next few days were filled with tender moments of care and recovery. Baby Hope, though still fragile, began to show signs of progress. Her tiny hand, which had once been pale and limp, slowly gained strength. Her chest, once so still and struggling to take in air, now moved with a steady rhythm. Anna and Milo stayed by her side, watching over her as she grew stronger with each passing hour. But just as they began to feel the light of a new chapter on the horizon, another unexpected event occurred. One afternoon, as Anna was sitting in the room with baby Hope, holding her gently in her arms, a nurse stepped into the room with a solemn expression. "Miss Harrison, there's someone here to see you. She says she's baby Hope's mother." Anna felt her heart stop for a moment. Could it really be? After everything they had been through, after the months of uncertainty and fear, could this be the moment that baby Hope's true family had finally come forward? The nurse led the young woman into the room, and Anna stood, her hand instinctively tightening around baby Hope. She saw the woman before she even had a chance to speak, young, no older than 20, with an exhausted, worried expression. Her hair was a mess, as though she'd been through an emotional storm, but her eyes, they were soft, filled with a deep sense of longing and love as they fell on the child in Anna's arms. Are you the one who saved her?" The woman's voice trembled, tears welling up as she stepped forward. "Is that my baby? Is that really her?" Anna held the baby closer, instinctively protective, but she nodded slowly. "Yes, she's baby Hope," Anna said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been taking care of her. She's been through a lot, but she's getting better. She made it through the surgery. She's a fighter." The woman's hands shook as she reached out to touch Baby Hope's tiny fingers, her gaze never leaving the child. I'm Zoe," she said, introducing herself. "I'm her mother. I've been looking for her everywhere. I had no choice but to leave her that night, but I never wanted to. I never wanted her to be alone. I love her so much. Please, can I hold her?" Anna hesitated for a moment, her heart heavy with the emotions of the moment. But something in Zoe's eyes, something genuine, told Anna that this was the real mother, the one who had never stopped thinking about her daughter, even in the most desperate of times. Slowly, she handed Baby Hope over, and Zoe cradled her daughter in her arms, tears streaming down her face as she gazed down at her little girl. "I'm so sorry," Zoe whispered, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry I couldn't be there for you, but I'll never leave you again. You're my baby. You're my whole world." Anna watched them for a moment, her heart swelling with a mix of emotions. There was joy in seeing the reunion, but also a bittersweetness in knowing that Baby Hope's journey had now come full circle. It was time for her to be with her mother, to finally be where she truly belonged. Zoe looked up at Anna, her face filled with gratitude and relief. "Thank you. Thank you for giving me my daughter back. I don't know how to ever repay you." Anna smiled gently, wiping a tear from her cheek. "You don't have to repay me. Just take care of her. She's been through so much, but she's strong. You'll do great." And with that, the two women, connected by the bond of a child they both loved, shared a quiet moment of understanding, knowing that Baby Hope was finally going to be okay. She had found her true family, and the future ahead of her was filled with possibilities. As Anna looked at Milo, who was resting at her feet, she felt a deep sense of peace. The dog had been her rock throughout this entire journey, and now, with the reunion complete, Anna knew they had done something extraordinary together. They had brought Baby Hope home. The days following Baby Hope's reunion with her mother were filled with a bittersweet sense of peace. While the journey had been long and at times heart-wrenching, Anna knew that Baby Hope was now safe in the arms of the woman who had never given up on her. The fear, the uncertainty, and the pain were behind them. Zoe had her daughter back, and the world felt just a little bit brighter. But for Anna, a new chapter was just beginning. Anna continued to visit Baby Hope at the hospital in the days that followed, checking in on her progress, bringing gifts, and helping Zoe in any way she could. She became not just a guardian angel from the past, but a support system for the young mother trying to rebuild her life. There was so much to learn, so many emotions to process, and as much as Zoe had wanted to be with her daughter from the moment she was born, there was no denying that she needed help, guidance, understanding, and sometimes just someone to listen. Anna knew that there was still so much she could offer. Her nursing background had always been a part of her, but after the events surrounding Baby Hope, she realized how much her heart longed to be of service to others. Seeing the effect her actions had on Baby Hope, Zoe, and even Milo had sparked something inside her, a sense of purpose that had been dormant for years. She wasn't just meant to be a caretaker for her patients. She was meant to be a guiding light in the lives of those who needed it most. One afternoon, as Anna sat by Baby Hope's bedside, watching the little girl slowly recover, her phone buzzed with an unexpected message. It was from Dr. Reeves. "Anna, I've been thinking a lot about what happened. The way you showed up, the care you provided, the difference you made. I've spoken to the hospital board, and I wanted to offer you something. We're starting a new pediatric program for families in need, and I believe you'd be an incredible asset to the team. If you're interested, we could discuss a position for you. I think you have something special to offer here." Anna read the message twice, her heart racing. She had always loved nursing, but now, with the lessons she had learned from this journey, she understood that her calling went beyond the hospital room. It was about helping families, guiding them through the darkest moments of their lives, and showing them that even in the midst of hardship, hope could still be found. With a soft smile, Anna typed her reply, her fingers trembling slightly. "Thank you, Dr. Reeves. I would be honored. I'm ready to take this step." As the days passed, Anna began to take on a more active role at the hospital. She met with families in the pediatric unit, offering support and encouragement, guiding them through their fears and questions. She was able to use her experience not just as a nurse, but as someone who had lived through the uncertainties of parenthood and the challenges of caring for a vulnerable child. She had lived it. And now she was able to guide others, just as she had guided baby Hope. And then there was Milo. Milo's presence in the hospital became a beacon of comfort for patients and families alike. After the hospital board heard the story of how Milo had brought baby Hope to safety, they unanimously agreed to register him as a therapy dog. Milo, with his gentle heart and intuitive sense of when people needed him most, quickly became a favorite among the hospital staff. He would wander from room to room, his tail wagging, offering solace to anyone who needed it. Children especially seemed drawn to him, their faces lighting up when they saw him entering their rooms. He had become a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the toughest times, there was always something to hold on to. His presence brought peace, comfort, and a sense of calm to every room he entered. For Anna, seeing Milo in his new role was deeply moving. He wasn't just the dog she had rescued. He was now an integral part of a larger mission, spreading kindness and healing wherever he went. The bond they had formed through the shared trauma of baby Hope's discovery, the journey through the hospital, and the quiet moments of care in between had transformed them both. They were a team, a duo united in their mission to make the world a little bit better, one life at a time. And it wasn't just at the hospital where their influence was felt. Anna and Milo began visiting schools and community centers where they held workshops on kindness, compassion, and emotional support. They became advocates for animal therapy programs, using their story to inspire others to consider the profound impact animals could have on emotional healing. Anna spoke about her own journey, how Milo had saved baby Hope and in turn had saved her. As the weeks turned into months, Anna found herself falling deeper into the new life she had created. She had never expected to find this kind of fulfillment, but as she worked with families and patients, as she helped guide them through their darkest days, she knew she had found her purpose. She wasn't just the woman who had saved a child. She was the woman who had created a ripple of change that would continue to spread long after baby Hope had healed. Milo, too, had found his place. No longer a stray wandering the streets, he had become a hero, a symbol of hope, compassion, and resilience. His heroism had saved a life, and in the process, he had unknowingly sparked a movement of healing that would continue to grow. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Anna and Milo sat in Oakbrook Park, watching the leaves fall gently from the trees, Anna reflected on the journey that had brought them here. There was no going back. No returning to the quiet life she had known before baby Hope had crossed her path. But she wasn't sure she would want to. She had found her new path, one that was filled with purpose, connection, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Milo, Anna whispered, as she reached down to scratch his ears. "We did good, didn't we?" Milo looked up at her, his eyes warm and steady. And for a moment, it was as if he was saying, "We're just getting started." Together, they had created a ripple of change, and they were ready to see where the next chapter would take them. The future was bright, full of new possibilities, and with each step they took, they knew they would make a difference, no matter how small, in the lives of those who needed it most. A month had passed since baby Hope had left the hospital and been reunited with her real mother, Zoe. The days were filled with new beginnings and new challenges. Zoe had settled into a routine with her daughter, and although the journey wasn't easy, the bond they shared was growing stronger each day. Baby Hope, now officially named Lily, was thriving. Her recovery was nothing short of miraculous, and as Anna and Zoe spoke over coffee one afternoon, they marveled at how far they had all come. "Milo saved her life," Anna said, her voice full of pride. She was sitting across from Zoe at a small cafe in Oakbrook, the town where everything had started. Milo, as usual, was by Anna's side, his golden fur gleaming in the soft autumn sunlight. It had become a habit for the three of them, Anna, Zoe, and Milo, to meet every week, sharing stories, laughing, and supporting one another in ways they hadn't anticipated. Zoe smiled, looking down at Lily, who was now a curious and giggling toddler in her arms. "I can't even imagine what would have happened if it weren't for him," Zoe said, her voice filled with gratitude. "He's a true hero, isn't he?" Anna nodded, her eyes meeting Milo's as he lay patiently beside them, his ears perked up at the mention of his name. He's more than that. He's been with me through so much. He brought Lily to us, and now he's helping so many others. He's not just a dog, he's become part of something bigger. Their conversation was interrupted by a group of children running past the cafe window, laughing and calling Milo's name. Anna and Zoe turned to see a small group of local kids who had come to love Milo's weekly visits to the hospital. They had been following his story, inspired by the way he had helped baby Hope, and now they eagerly awaited his arrival every Friday afternoon. As the kids approached, Milo's tail began to wag furiously, his eyes lighting up with excitement. He knew exactly what was coming. The children ran to him, surrounding him with hugs and laughter. Anna stood up and watched, her heart swelling with warmth. This was what Milo had become, a symbol of hope for a community that had, at first, only seen him as a stray. "Milo, you're the best!" one of the children said, patting him on the head. Another child held up a drawing of Milo, his golden fur shining brightly in crayon colors. "We made this for you, Milo." Anna couldn't help but smile. It wasn't just the children who had found solace in Milo's presence. The entire town had embraced him. He had become a part of the fabric of Oakbrook, a quiet suburb now filled with the echoes of his kindness and healing. As the children played with Milo, Anna turned back to Zoe. "I think this is just the beginning. There's so much more we can do. We can take what we've learned and share it with others." Zoe raised an eyebrow, curious. "What do you mean?" Anna looked thoughtful for a moment, her eyes scanning the bustling streets of Oakbrook. "We've seen how a single act of kindness can change everything." It wasn't just Milo rescuing Lily. It was the entire journey that followed. People in this town, in this hospital, they've all been touched by what happened. I want to start a program, something that helps people connect with their communities, with animals, with each other. I think we can build a network of care, of kindness that spreads beyond just this town. Zoe's eyes softened and she nodded. "I love that idea. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. We owe it to Lily, to everyone who's been a part of this." Anna smiled warmly. "I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think it's time to make it real. The hospital, the schools, the community centers. We can bring people together, show them how small acts of love and compassion can create ripples that last far beyond one person's life." Zoe looked down at her daughter, who was happily playing with a stuffed animal. "You're right. You've already shown me that. You saved my daughter. You showed me that even in the darkest moments, there's always a way forward." Anna felt the weight of her words sink in, and with that, a new sense of purpose settled in her heart. There was no going back. She was no longer just a nurse in a hospital. She was a leader, someone who could inspire others to take action, to make the world a better place through kindness, compassion, and a willingness to help. And with Milo by her side, she knew they could accomplish anything. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over Oakbrook Park, Anna felt a deep sense of peace. Her life had been transformed in ways she could never have imagined. She had come from a place of uncertainty, doubt, and fear, and now she stood at the edge of something much greater. The journey that began with one small act of courage when Milo had rescued baby Hope had led her here, to this new beginning, a beginning where the future was filled with endless possibilities. Together, Anna, Zoe, Lily, and Milo walked down the path that led out of the cafe, hand in paw, ready to take on whatever came next. They knew that their work wasn't finished. The future was waiting for them. And with it, a world full of people in need of kindness, healing, and love. And so, the new chapter began, one step at a time. The story of Milo and Anna, which began in the darkest of moments, is a testament to the power of kindness and love to transform a community. Milo, once a stray dog wandering the quiet streets, became a hero, not just in baby Hope's life, but in the hearts of everyone who encountered his story. Anna, a nurse who once worked in a hospital, discovered a new purpose in life, not only healing bodies, but healing souls. Together with Milo, they built a bridge of compassion, bringing hope and light to those who needed it the most. What started as a single act of kindness had grown into a movement that proved how small acts of love can change lives in ways we can never fully imagine. This journey is a reminder that in a world filled with challenges, the simplest things, love, care, and compassion are often the most powerful forces for change, and that each of us, whether human or animal, has the potential to make a lasting difference. If this story has touched your heart, if you believe in the power of kindness and connection, we invite you to join us in spreading this message far and wide. Like, comment, and subscribe to be a part of this journey and help us keep the light of hope shining. Share your own stories of kindness, of moments when you made a difference in someone's life, and let's create a ripple of love that touches every corner of the world. Your comments, your shares, and your support mean more than words can express. Together, we can continue to make this world a better place, one act of love at a time. Don't keep this story to yourself. Send it to someone who needs a little hope, a little inspiration today. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. Let's keep this spark alive, spreading hope and compassion everywhere we go. Together, we can change the world, one small, meaningful step at a time.